Comes from St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, Oklahoma City looks so pretty, you see. Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Winona, Kingman, Boston, San Bernardino.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I hope that you folks love that theme song. It's sort of our trademark. We bought that song from Omni years ago, before price of everything went up. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you in the room today, in the house, as I say, here on Paltalk.com. We've already got a couple of hands up, and how patient of you to wait for me. Top of the hour, we were very punctual. We'll try to get out as promptly, but right now, for everyone who's tuned in, we are going to go to first Jim Starman and then to Mitch, but I'll share with you the topics of what I brought to the table today. A shock absorber that absolutely blows my mind, generates electricity as you ride down the road and charges your electric battery. I love it. I wish I had thought of the idea. Better than new. This is the result of cars that are selling or are not selling across the country. A report on Ford Motor Company's reduced warranty cost, so that you can see, if you're in the service business, how much reduced, how better made cars are, much reduced warranty work. A fuel your economic recovery free $500 gas card that I'm giving away in April. You need to get in early. You simply go, and we'll put you the links down. Cynthia will give you the links there for carclinicnetwork.com. The average price of gasoline. And then if we can sneak this in, we're going to talk with Bob Dineen. These are interviews that I have had face-to-face interviews with Bob Dineen, who is the president of the Renewable Fuels Association, James Woolsey, who is a vice president of Booz Allen and former charge of CIA in 01 and 2 and 3, and Randy Swisher, who is the executive director of the American Wind Energy. So if you're familiar with T. Boone, and I'm sure everyone in the room is, you'll know that wind energy is a pretty big deal. So let's start off. Let's kick the program off. We'll go to Jim Starman, and then I want to seriously try to get as much as I can of this information out to you, but what your interests are of vital interest to me. So, Jim Starman, welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic here on Paltalk.com, live every Thursday.
Well, I like to be part of it live every Thursday. I want to thank you for the oil. The package was great with the T-shirt and the nice note put inside it. And by the way, I heard on the news today that gasoline is going down to $1 a gallon, so that should encourage people to go out and have some fun, have some vacations. Cars, good God, I can't believe that they're talking where you can get $10,000 for the car that's 6 or 7 years old on a trade-in for a new Malibu. Wow, that's... I got to go to my Chevy dealer and find out what's the story.
Well, you're right, Jim Star, and I'll tell you, we are seeing that, and shortly, and I say shortly, over the next 90 days or 6 months. We just have to be patient and optimistic, very optimistic, which we are. But you're going to see tax breaks, and I like what I've heard, that when you buy a new car, the sales tax you get to take off as a break. I think that's absolutely should have been done years ago. And also, the interest that you pay on a car loan will be deductible. And I will tell you, there are many people who've taken second mortgages, of which I did, so that you could deduct the interest from your home and take that money from your second mortgage and go buy a car. And quite honestly, that's part of where the cash came from when I bought my Viper, and I was able to write off the interest, and that was in 2001. Back to you.
Okay, well, I really like the idea of gas going down to $1 a gallon. Your idea about the shock, now unless that patent's right across the board, why can't you put that shock generator on an electric bike, and then that would be a hot one too?
Well, yes, it would, but you have to realize, and if you think about this, this is not new technology, because in the oceans they've had generators. They had some problems. This is several years ago. They've had problems with algae growing in the filters. And just imagine if you, I don't have a shock, but here, I'll use this as a shock absorber. So you imagine this is a float in the ocean, and it's two pieces, and you got a bottom that's attached to the floor, and you got a top, and every time the ocean rises, the top comes up and goes down, and there's a cylinder, just like those flashlights that you shake and they charge. And so that's a technology that's old, and so old that they've already had problems with algae getting into the inlet and outlet ports of this tube within a tube that has windings that generates electricity. Now, with regard to electric bicycle, the shock absorbers that are on a heavy SUV or a heavier car will move more, and depending, and if you're a heavy truck, maybe not as much, but a standard passenger car that's made to ride like a luxury cruiser, like we think of a Cadillac or a limousine or a larger car. Certainly, those cars are heavier, and the wheels move farther up and down, which would generate more electricity than a little bicycle that the shock just barely moves because there's not a lot of weight. But just think about it. And the name of this shock is, this is an article by Jonathan Ramsey, and it's on the 1st of February this year. And here's the technology. I got to read this. The movement of a standard shock absorber creates heat, which is neutralized by the oil in the shock. We know that. In a PGSA, that's the name of this shock, a linear electric motor converts the magnetic field created by the repetitive motion into electricity. Or, if you like your technology to sound science, sci-fi, here's what it says. It uses an electromagnetic linear generator to convert variable frequency, repetitive intermittent linear displacement motion to useful electric power. And basically, and I've got a picture of it. You can see it on the screen barely, but the bottom line, it's a shock absorber that has windings, a permanent magnetic stack and stator windings, a nylon slip ring, and literally, it's like those crank 'em up flashlights that you see in radios and friction, and you create the friction. Well, here a car goes down the road, and it's like now we'll be looking for bumps in the road. If you, oh, my battery's getting low. Hey, there's a bump, man. Pull over. Let's find that bump or steer into that bump. So here's the challenge. They got to be expensive. They have to be expensive. But just think about this. If you use the natural movement that you already know is there to generate electricity to charge the battery, then you can reduce the amount of energy that the alternator takes from the car's engine to charge the battery. So this shock absorber would essentially, on any automobile, increase MPG. Now we're going to go over to Mitch. Mitch, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic on Paltalk.com. Glad to have you in the house.
Thank you, Bobby. I was just wondering, I've been told Ford has some cars over other part of the world. Do you think they're going to bring them over here to U.S.? And they're a lot better on their gas, I've been told.
You hit it right on, Mitch. Ford Motor Company has a Fiesta and has cars made that they made for Europe. That and I don't know if Sonny's in today. There he is, Sonny. Always glad to have you in the house, Sonny. There's no doubt with regard to Europe. There's no doubt with regard to some parts of Asia that their technologies are way ahead of us. I mean, Wi-Fi and wireless telephones, and wireless connectivity is sort of standard protocol. And there are a lot of technologies in the States that are ahead of the other countries. Combining the best of all is what we would have to do, but we'd have to get over the political aspects of it. And to that end, a little later in the program, we're going to have James Woolsey, who is the vice president of Booz Allen, and I asked him about the security if we find the answer to renewable energy before any other country. Do we